Welcome to Sex and the Solo Girl. Join your host, her inner circle, and expert guests weekly for chats about dating, secure attachment, the solo lifestyle, doing relationships differently, and of course, sex. And here's your host, Janice Formichella.
Hey everyone, I am so thankful that you are here today. If you pushed play on this episode, it means that you are already on your journey to happier, healthier relationships. Welcome and nice work. This is going to be a shorter episode. I'm just going to knock it out. So don't go anywhere. A lot of you know that I have two podcasts that I love. Sex and the Solo Girl, and of course, breakups, broken hearts, and moving on. When I started Sex and the Solo Girl, I really wanted to focus more on content surrounding secure attachment and various experiences of various attachment styles / tendencies. I like to call them tendencies because I don't think that anybody has this encoded on them. And I really want to encourage people to see them as patterns. And like I said, tendencies rather than what we are. Anyways, that was what I wanted one of my focuses to be. In fact, I almost called it Solo and Secure or Sex and the Secure Girl. I had all these things. In the end, Sex and the Solo Girl was born, and it's going to be a focus of the show in 2025 and also my coaching. So if any of this, excites you and turns you on and you'd like to get support around becoming securely attached, please hit me up. And I also know, based on feedback over the last few years, that a lot of the listeners of Breakups, Broken Hearts, and Moving On are just generally interested in attachment theory. And so I am going to be dropping these, I think, on both feeds. Either way, I hope that you will follow both shows and stay with me. Also, I have done already some content on Sex and the Solo Girl around secure attachment. So I hope that you will go over to Sex and the Solo Girl and download Jealousy with my very, very, very close friend, Jessie Marie. That's number 17. And that's because I think jealousy is one characteristic of an insecure attachment. And we give lots of really great tips for overcoming it and viewing it. So go and look at that. Oh, and I guess I should have said this first because it's episode 15. And that is becoming securely attached with also my good friend, Brian Dunn. The episode with Brian is definitely like a deep dive. Brian and I do very, very, very comprehensive episodes. So it's a bit of a commitment, but it's also like so good. And this is going to be an overview / a once over as to what it looks like, what we are really striving for with the show and with my series on secure attachment. Keep your eyes on this space. I am going deep into this. In fact, next week, I will be dropping a beautiful episode with Dani Furmanek on her experience navigating an anxious attachment and her various experiences, and then things that she has done to cope, including her experience being ghosted, what that meant to her as someone who feels anxious, and how she deals with it now. Okay, everybody gets ghosted, honestly, and I really think you will enjoy her perspective. So let's talk about characteristics of secure attachment. I am going to share 5. But first of all, if you are listening to this and feel that you are not secure, I want you to know that is okay. But also that you do have it in you to learn how to show up in new ways in all of your relationships and become at least more secure. Did you know that there is an attachment style / tendency that a lot of people don't know about? And that is called earned secure. I learned this term from Eli Harwood, who has written the great workbook, Securely Attached. I will link in the show notes. This workbook has been just rocking my world for the last couple of years. And it reads, though an insecure attachment does mean a harder path to finding secure love, it is not a lifelong suffering sentence. In fact, there is another category in the research termed earned secure attachment for those of us who have had to put in our own work to learn secure relating skills. That would definitely be me. I was not born like this. I've been through anxiousness. I've been through avoidance in relationships, and I am currently very secure. That does not mean that I am perfect, okay? I still sometimes struggle with resentment and, well, you know what? I'm a pretty good communicator, so I won't say that that's necessarily something that I struggle with. But my partner and I do have disagreements that we quickly navigate. I wish it meant that I was perfect and showed up for him, absolutely perfectly on a day-to-day basis. We, have things that come up, not all that often, but I have gotten to a place of real confidence in my relationships, an ability to speak my feelings and my needs and my opinions and show up for him and for my friends in really healthy ways that serve us all. But like I said, I wasn't always like this. So what are we talking about? What wasn't I always like? Let's go over 5 key characteristics of secure attachment. First of all, an attitude of, does this feel right? Rather than an attitude of wanting to be picked or worrying more about whether or not someone likes you. You're not moving quickly. You're not hoping that they will select you. Whether you are anxious or avoidant, this could be your attitude, rather than really considering, does this have what it takes to go the long run? Am I compatible with this person rather than having chemistry with this person? Number 2, this is big for both, being able to self-regulate and have a relationship with your nervous system. So when you feel your nervous system activated, or you're becoming really overwhelmed and stressed, and you think that, your thoughts are controlling you, or you can't focus, you can't stop thinking about, if you're avoidant, maybe how things are getting too serious. Or if you're anxious, why haven't you heard from them? Or what are they thinking? You're able to notice when these things are starting to kind of take you over, or when you're allowing them to take you over, and then navigate it. Have a talk with yourself as to how to come back to reality, I guess would be the blunt way of putting it. And yes, again, go and listen to Becoming Securely Attached with Brian Dunn, episode 15 on sex and the solo girl. We have a whole section on self-soothing. It's a big passion of mine, okay? Let's see, 1, have an attitude of, does this feel right? 2, be able to self-regulate. 3, this could be one that you haven't thought of before, but it's going to make so much sense. I hope, at least. And that is, secure people do not often speak poorly about their exes. Think about it. When you are more secure, you are more able to see that a lot of relationships run their course. Breakups hurt. It absolutely sucks to realize that maybe you aren't compatible with someone, or you're not getting along with someone, or it's not meant to be, or It was great in the beginning and it's not anymore. It still hurts. Like, my God, my last breakup was over a year and a half ago, actually coming up on 2 years. And it really hurt. I cried. I had about 3 weeks of not really feeling myself, grieving. I knew this was all part of the process, even though I'm very secure. But then afterwards, I really just felt at peace. Like, it didn't work out. So when you are hurt over a breakup, you can still get to a point where you're able to look back at it, as I did, without like a lot of emotionality. Pretty soon after, I was able to kind of talk about it, feeling not really disconnected, but just, like I said, at peace. And of course, I kind of had friends who I talked to about it, but not really. After about a month, I had really moved on and it was kind of gone. I'm not saying everybody processes things the way I do, but you can. And this is partially why I'm a breakup coach, because I can get you there. Also, I do think that people who are more secure do have a higher EQ. They have more emotional intelligence. And also, emotional intelligence is something that you can gain. And therefore, you will understand that when you are talking shit about your ex, it comes off really poorly. Like, people don't want to hear it. And you'll just kind of get that more once you become more secure. Number 4, characteristics of people with a more secure attachment. People who are more secure have different expectations of partners and relationships, including friendships. This can extend past romantic. A few of these expectations include, I will do my best to give and receive with my partner. And this includes wants and needs and asking for things. Along those lines, another expectation, I share my needs openly so that my partner can understand them. Use your words. Be with people who make you feel safe to do this. Another expectation, I am responsible for healing myself, but I let my partner's love into my heart as part of that healing. That can be a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. And one thing that looks like is when you feel quote unquote triggered by something that comes up that makes you think of your past, instead of blaming your partner for that or using it as a crutch or an excuse for your behavior, you explain to them how you're feeling, you ask for support, and then you go and process it and work through it. It's no one else's responsibility. Another expectation, I accept that there are ups and downs in all relationships and work to repair things when they are off course. As someone who has previously had avoidant tendencies, I know that sometimes when I have a conflict in my current relationship, it does bring up a lot. It makes me feel like it's not working out. I have like moments of fear that maybe I can't do this when things become like too serious. Luckily, I'm with someone who makes me feel very safe and who is not going anywhere and does things daily to help me see that. I am equally committed to him. And ultimately, I'm able to see that just because things aren't perfectly all the time doesn't mean it's ending or it's not meant to be. Number 5, characteristics of someone with a secure attachment, an attitude of collaboration with our partners. What are we creating together? Like, why are we even doing this? What do we want things to look like in the future? Asking your partner, how are you feeling? Rather than always focusing on yourself. It also means that in the spirit of collaboration, you are getting out and having your solo time. Your partner is encouraging you to do this, and you are encouraging them to do it. when it comes to an attitude of collaboration with partners, when you are talking and you are reflecting back to them your impression of the situation, you might start a sentence out with, I might be wrong, but, and then expressing yourself and saying something like, how does that land with you? Or what do you think? Taking responsibility. That's a lovely way to start out a conversation, I feel. And then when it comes to a spirit of collaboration, thanking your partner, recognizing them for the things that they do. I have recently started a love journal just because I thought this would be a sweet thing to maybe give to him at the end of the year. When he does sweet things or things that I'm grateful for, I just write it down in this journal. And I'm really enjoying it. I have to say, it does create a great vibe. So are you ready to go on the journey of becoming securely attached with me? So where do we begin? If you are saying yes, where do we start? I want you to write down or think about 3 things that you would like to accomplish this year when it comes to improving your attachment tendencies. Send it to me on Instagram. I would like to know. If maybe you're drawing a blank, that's also totally fine. Try to develop an attitude of curiosity about what you might like to accomplish. A few additional steps, commit to it. Say you're going to learn and come back to that commitment through the year. Get resources. Subscribe to this podcast. Go out and look for books. The two books I suggest, Polysecure by Jessica Fern. And like I said earlier, Securely Attached by Eli Hartwood. There's also a really great book by the Hendrickses. It's called Conscious Loving. And that's about creating a collaborative relationship. Think about your desired outcome. Like, what are you really trying to get from this? Why do you want to improve? And let yourself make mistakes. And like I said, if you're a slight perfectionist like me, you can kind of get down when you stumble. I don't do that as much anymore, but this is a learning curve. This is a process. Trust me. And I want you to know that you're really, really, really in the right space. I love supporting people through this process. And I would love it if you would come over to Instagram, Janice Formichella. I will put it in the show notes so it's easy to find. Let me know how you're going. Let me know that you've decided to come on this journey with me. Also, remember, I do one-on-one breakup coaching, one-on-one secure attachment coaching. I would love to hear from you if you think that my support might help you this year. Okay, well, that's it. I will see everybody next week. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Mwah.
Thank you for listening to Sex and the Solo Girl with Janice Formichella, the podcast for those who want to add more flavor to their relationships with themselves and others. If you liked today's episode, make sure to head over to Instagram and let her know. See you next week.